What's up guys, Woody here from Indie Credible, bringing you another indie game review, and this time we are checking out My Time at Portia, a new game that is released PS4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch, if you're watching this video, because it released a day this video went up, but it's been available on PC since the beginning of the year in a full release, but it's also available around about 18 months ago in Steam Early Access. It had a nice length of period in Steam Early Access, a good period in Early Access, but now the game is available to the world on all platforms. And we're going to delve into this lovely kind of farming sim meets life sim meets crafting sim meets adventure sim kind of style game. Now, this game is being developed by Pathea Games and published by Team 17. And I'm going to kick straight off with by saying that I've had a lot of fun with My Time at Portia. Now, I will put a little disclaimer out there. I just checked my Steam account. I was playing on PC because we got given two keys. These keys were provided to us by Team 17. We got two keys. We got one on PC. So I was playing on PC. The game has been available for a few months. But Tom from the podcast was playing on PlayStation. And I've been chatting to him closely, and he can confirm there are no performance issues. The game ran, we had quite in-depth conversations. The game ran as smooth as it did on PlayStation as it did on PC. So there doesn't seem to be any issues there whatsoever in terms of performance. But as I was going to say, I have put currently 32 hours into the game. I was saying I just checked my Steam account before making this video. Now, 32 hours in most games, you're going to say, well, that's a lengthy amount of time. And yes, it is a lengthy amount of time in My Time at Portia. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like I'm kind of just scratching the surface of how far I could go in the game. Now, you might be sitting here thinking, well, why is he reviewing the game if he hasn't done everything? I mean, for me to do everything in this game, for me to level up everything, for me to explore everywhere, for me to get every high-level dungeon, and I'll get to the dungeon things a little bit later on, done in the game, for me to collect all resources, we're talking probably close to 100 to 150 hours. And I'm going to be talking about this game on the podcast over the next few weeks, months, because I can see myself just sinking more and more hours in the game, but I'm going to be starting again. Again, I'm going to go on that later on in the video. I'm getting very cryptic now, so I'm just going to dive into it, okay? But just be warned that I have played 32 hours. I have seen pretty much everything the game has to offer. I haven't completed everything the game has to offer, so take that as you will. If you don't feel like I'm fit for a review, then by all means move on. If you want to stay and hear this sexy voice, and I don't know why I said that, and hear the review from My Time at Portia, then stay around and we're going to delve into it right now. So, as I said, I have had a ton of fun in My Time at Portia, mostly because the sheer plethora of activities at your disposal. Now, the game starts by you arrive to this island called Portia, and you're given this old, beaten-up workshop that your dad left in very mysterious, bizarre circumstances. Now, that might be something you find out in the story later on. I can confirm in the first 30 hours, you don't really have anything to do with your dad, or your dad just mysteriously disappearing pops up once due to some debt things, but that is about it. So yeah, once you get this workshop, the idea of the game then is, well, the main end goal, if you want to ask, of the game is you want to make the most reputable workshop in all of Portia. There's another 4 or 5 workshops competing for that title, and you must fulfill building contracts, you must socialise, you must make stuff at your workshop and sell it. You fishing, you exploring, you go unlock new areas for tourists to come, you make Portia more of a tourist attraction. All of that feeds into your workshop reputation, which then bumps you up, which then makes you the best workshop in all of Portia. Now, this kind of is the main driving focus, I suppose you could say, of the game. And we'll kick off with the building contract. So you're kind of introduced to these pretty much straight away in the game. So you arrive at Portia, you've seen your workshop, it's pretty beaten up, there's holes in the floor, you're not getting a great night's sleep, but hey, it's a workshop to start with. You go to the commerce building and you get shown these contracts. You pick these contracts up and they start absolutely harmless. They start as easy as you can. Make 3 copper bars or make 3 copper pipes, hand them to the person that's done it, and all you're going to do is you're going to get some rep, you're going to get some money, you're going to get some social, you're going to level up your social level with this character, and then the contract is done. Now, this becomes the gameplay loop, in all honesty, for probably about 8 hours. Now, that's not because the game doesn't offer you variety from the start. That's because if you've never played these kind of adventure-y, life simmy, crafty, farmy simmy, whatever you want to call it, style games, that's what these games do. When you start, you just have a workshop and you have a crafting bench thing. You must have to, or you've got to create furnaces, you need to create saws, you need to create the grinders, you need to create the skeevers, you need to create all this stuff. then you need to also farm all the resources to then make more stuff with this stuff. And your contracts are very minimal. They are just make 5 planks of wood, make this, make that. But it's a way of it's a tutorial into the game without it being a strict tutorial into the game. I mean, even 15 hours in, I was taking some of these, what are classed as D level contracts. You start grade D, and the idea is you make your workshop up to, I think, A. I don't know, I've just got to A, so I don't know if it goes beyond A, but that's where I'm at. I'm currently just got to A. But yeah, so you do these minimal contracts, and that kind of fits into the first 8 hours of the game. I'm not going to lie, it's repetitive. And it's not repetitive in the terms of it's bad game design. It's repetitive in it has to be. You need to flesh out all your resources. You need to go and get 500 wood. You need to go into the caves and get 500 stone. You need to get 500 copper. You need to get fishing line. You need to get caterpillar. You need to get all this stuff and put them in storage boxes so you're ready to go on. Because after about 8, maybe 10 hours, the game all of a sudden kind of really opens up. Due to some story stuff that happens, or I say story stuff, due to kind of stuff the game makes you do, like building contracts you have to do to kind of carry on the narrative plotline. I say narrative in inverted commas because it's not really a narrative, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. And then it opens up caves to you, it opens up other stuff to you, and then you can level up your crafting benches, and all of a sudden you can craft more stuff. And now people are asking for cars, for you to make these little kind of tut-tut style cars, or they're asking you to make tables or making chairs, and it kind of levels up and up and up and up, and it kind of escalates from there. As I said, 32 hours in, I've gone through 3 seasons. I'm halfway through the 4th season of the game, and yeah, I'm starting to get to the point now where I'm making something is a case of I get a contract. I've got 6 days to complete the contract. It's taken me 4 days to complete the contract. So there's a lot of gameplay to get into with the kind of crafting style stuff. But that's the way the crafting works. And in terms of the resource management and all that kind of, it fits into the crafting. There are mines to explore. There are abandoned ruins to explore. There are creatures to combat, to fight with. And all these kind of add into your resource management. The mines you go down, you can chip your way through these mines. You pick up, obviously, stone. You pick up all different types of metals. Magnesium, tin, aluminium, copper. You also find relics, and then by taking these relics to the research centre, once you complete a relic, that's what gives you kind of the blueprint, shall we say, to create something new for your plot of land, for your workshop. The wood, same as you'd expect really, you chop down trees, or you pick up wood that's on the floor, you level up your axe, you can chop down bigger trees, you get new types of wood, you get like ironwood, you get hardwood, and that allows you to make more or stronger structures, better structures, shall we say. Stone you use in furnaces. I'm not going to sit here for ages, guys, and talk about the craft. And you guys can guess where it's going. If you haven't played these kind of games before, it's pretty self-explanatory in terms of stone is used for what and wood's used for what else. But one thing I will say about the resource management, and definitely one of my favourite things that My Time at Portia does, is it fully respects players' time. Honestly, I couldn't believe how much it was giving me XP. In terms of if I was just picking up wood from the floor, I get XP. I chop down a tree, I get XP. I take on I don't want to say enemy, because they're not enemies. There are enemies in the game, but I mean, these little pink bouncing around llamas, they're not enemies. But you take on a pink bouncing around llama, you get XP. You chat to someone, you get XP. You complete a building contract, you get XP. You go fishing, you get XP. Basically meaning however you choose to spend your day in Portia, you're rewarded for, which is huge in a game like this. A game that, as I said, I've put just over 30 hours in, and I still need to do more. I'm currently sat at level 23 or 24, and there is a skill tree that comes with the level that you can go into in your workbook or your journal, and you can level yourself up. I'm probably about 30% through the skill tree after 30 hours. That kind of gives you an idea how to go. And there's 3 branches on the skill tree. You can go down crafting route, you can go down social route, or you can go down fighting route. But no, honestly, the game feels so rewarding, and it's such a nice touch. A game that is always giving something back to you. No matter if I just want to go spend the day chopping down trees, it's fine. I'm going to pick up 5,000 XP by doing so. If I want to spend a day running around town, just chatting to people, it's fine. I'm going to get 5,000-6,000 XP for doing so, and so forth. And you kind of get the idea of that. Now, as for the actual world of Portia, it's really intriguing. It's really nice. I mean, you've seen some snippets of the gameplay going over this video now, and it's fair to say the game is very cute. It goes for that kind of low poly-ish, vibrant, colourful art style, and it does it pretty well. Yeah, you could argue that the art style is a little bit generic now, and it's been done in lots of games, but I would still say it fits. It feels at home here. It fits in absolutely perfectly. But the world itself is nice to explore, and you constantly, just when I felt like I'd seen everything from that section of Portia, all of a sudden another area will open up. And it isn't a case of, oh, there's a map, go here, there's a map, go here, there's a map, go here. Yes, there is a mini-map, and it does show you where your quest icons are. So, for example, you need to take a building contract back to someone, it pops up, which is handy. Let's be honest, you don't want to be running around for 10 minutes trying to find where you hand this contract back in. You just go straight there, you hand it in, and off you go. I unlocked, for example, a couple of, like, I'm going to call them planes, where they were like danger planes. So there was lots of high-level enemies there. There's mini-bosses there, and there are even bosses in the game. There are dungeons, and I want to use the word dungeon very lightly, or loosely, because any MMO player will go, oh my god, dungeons. Yeah, take that with a pinch of salt, because we're not talking heavily mechanical dungeons in terms of you've got to work as a team to get through the dungeon. These are single-player dungeons. They've got some basic platforming elements to them. They've got enemies in them, and they finish with a boss. And the boss, like, the combat genuinely feels better than I expected. In terms of a couple of hits, you hit a roll, which does have some iframes on it, so it's quite nice to almost, again, very loosely, it reminded me of how I used to play Bloodborne. God, this game is not as challenging as Bloodborne, but I'm just saying, it reminded me how I used to play Bloodborne, where you'd get a couple of attacks in, I'd roll, and I'd walk to make sure I was standing behind them. I did actually die a couple of times because I was learning the animations, and the level is very true to itself in terms of combat. So when I was level 15, for example, I went into a level 2 dungeon, which then meant it was between 16 and 20. I got creamed by the boss. The boss AoE attack was doing like half my health. And I was rolling away in time, and I needed not so much the skill points to get up. I just needed the health buff of another 2 or 3 levels. So the level's quite nice. It does stick true to itself, which means that you can't kind of run through, complete all the content before you actually unlocked the level. Now, as I said, the world of Portia is nice to explore. What's even nicer about the world of Portia are the NPCs that kind of populate it. Portia genuinely feels alive, and I was taken back sometimes by the interactions of the AI on their own. For example, on Sundays, the first Sunday I was running through the town, everyone was running past me, and I was thinking, what the hell is going on here? So I followed them up this hill, around this winding staircase. They're going to church. Like, the whole town just goes to church on Sunday. You had the option to go, and it was just like, oh, okay, fair dues. And they had these weird random events where one was an airship went over the top and just dropped presents from the sky, and everyone runs around like a lunatic trying to steal these presents, and you get extra loot for it. They have I wouldn't say weekly, I'd say probably fortnightly meetings where you stand outside the town hall, and the governor or the mayor talks to you about what's going on, and that's normally, they act as mini story sections, because they're kind of, oh, this is the next big building contract, this is the update on the next big building contract, and so on like that. And they're quirky, they're wonderfully quirky. You've got this one guy in there, I can't remember his name, but he's this overly sized, massive, masculine guy who's oozing testosterone, does one-hand press-ups in the middle of the town square, and then when you talk to him, he refers to you as puny builder, a tiny builder. You've got this kid who wears this kind of bear cape and lives with bears, and one thing I will say is the conversation with these isn't very deep. You don't really have conversational choices. You just talk to them, they give you one sentence back, and you get one reputation point for your buddy system with them. You can give them gifts. You can play rock, paper, scissors with them, which is quite cool. It's a nice little mini game. And you can fight them. You can spar with them, like a mini fighting game, which is actually, it works quite cool. The rolling and the fighting and the combat, and it all plays into the buddy systems. Like I said, you get XP for doing each one of these activities with them, but you also level up your buddy system with that person. I'm currently very early days of a relationship. There are relationships in the game. It does look like it becomes a whole big part of the game. I've seen quite a few trailers where you get married. I've not got married yet, so again, take that as you will. Have I played enough of the game for review? It's up to you to decide. But the way that works is it's pretty much like The Sims used to be. You give presents, you talk to them. You give presents, you talk to them. You beat them up a little bit because that's what the game wants you to do, not what I would normally do. You give them presents, you talk to them, you play rock, paper, scissors with them, and then some other options come up. Like you can ask them on a date. You can, as you get more buddy with them, you get more social options with them. I've been on one date, so yeah, it definitely gets deeper and deeper and deeper with the whole relationship management or relationship sim style stuff. Now, what I will say is I've kind of gone through the fact that the combat and the mining and the crafting. What My Time Portia does is it doesn't do anything new in the genre, but what it does very well. I mean, the relationship stuff isn't going to be as deep as a relationship sim, but I wouldn't expect it to be. The combat isn't adventure RPG combat, but it still feels nice and it fits at home in the game. I mean, the crafting and the mining and the resource gathering is what I'd expect it to, and it's very similar to something like Stardew Valley, and I'm going to refer to that, or I may refer to that a lot in this video, but it's because what it is, kind of a 3D Stardew Valley. But I feel like My Time at Portia has more depth than Stardew Valley. For example, Stardew Valley's combat was pretty much going to these mines that, I'll be honest, I got a bit bored with. Whereas this is nice new lands to explore, new dungeons to explore. There is honestly so much in this game. Now, I'm actually going to be starting the game again because I've enjoyed my time so much at My Time in Portia, with My Time at Portia, sorry. Get my words mixed up now. And but I'm going to pick up on Switch. This game is made for the Nintendo Switch. I know everyone says that. I know we say that on the podcast all the time. But honestly, sitting down, playing an hour, 2 hours of this game, jumping off, an hour, 2 hours of this game, jumping off, is exactly what I want to do. This isn't a game I want to sit down and play 7-8 hours of straight through. And that's not because the game isn't good. It's because these games can't help but be repetitive. Like, they're called life sims for a reason, because you're kind of simulating someone's life. Now, you do that on a daily basis anyway. I don't want to then go do that 8 hours in a video game. I don't mind doing it with a review, and I didn't ever find it tedious doing it for the review, playing 30 hours over the week. But it is a game I want to pick up on the Switch, I want to play a little bit and pop down. And also, you know it's going to have different events going in. This is a guaranteed it's going to have an Easter event going on. This is going to have a Christmas event going on. It's going to be the kind of game that the developers are going to be throwing in little events to get little perks, to get, oh, look, I can get a Christmas outfit, I can get an elf outfit, I can get a bunny outfit. I mean, that's not promised, that's just me speculating, but it feels very much like that. It's the kind of game that will do that. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up our review of My Time at Portia. I've gone into most of the mechanics in depth, but like I said, I have put in, and I'll say again, I've put in 32 hours, take that as you will. Honestly, I could see 100 hours in this game, you'll still have stuff to do. And I genuinely mean that. I felt like I was at a stage where I'd seen all the mechanics. I had experienced that stuff. I'd open up a few extra areas. I don't want to go too much into that because I don't want to... It's not spoilers, but there's certain things that happened and I was like, oh, that's quite cool. Oh, okay, that's quite cool. And I don't want to ruin that for you guys as a viewer, listener, whatever you guys are doing. But all I'll say is how I'll finish it off is I would fully recommend to My Time at Portia to anyone who likes this kind of game. Even if you don't like this kind of game, but say for example, you like the idea of Stardew Valley, but you think, oh, okay, maybe, I don't know, do I get Stardew Valley, do I not get Stardew Valley? If I'm being honest, I feel like My Time at Portia is a little bit more friendly than Stardew Valley. Mostly because the way it kind of gradually gives you stuff and your complete freedom to do almost anything in a day. I mean, you could do that in Stardew Valley. You could fish, you could gather wood, you could go mine stone, things like that. But I feel like Stardew Valley was it kind of got linear quite quickly. After you put 20 hours in, you knew what you could do. You planted plants for seasons. There's still seasons in this and planting plants, but you kind of you could do what you do, and that was it. You knew what you were doing there. This 20 hours in, I was getting new stuff around to me. 30 hours in, I'd open up a new cave, and I was like, oh my god, I've got a whole new thing to explore. And you really can. You're not penalised for not making building contracts. Your rank doesn't ever go down. Like at the end of each month, there's this leaderboard, and you get rewards. Your rank, you never lose points as your workshop. You only ever gain points. So for example, I could go, do you know what, this month, I'm going to just keep my score as it is. I'm going to go and do combat all month, and I'm going to go clear these caves out all month, and I'm going to build this stuff here for me. I'm not going to do these contracts. See, that's what I mean. Like the game doesn't shoehorn you into doing anything apart from the odd big building contract that you need to do to explore more areas. But yeah, I kind of went on a tangent there. If you like Stardew Valley and you like this kind of game, this gets my full thumbs up. It's my full recommendations. Like, yes, I'd recommend it mostly on the Switch because that's where I'm going to go and play it. I'm going to go buy it on the Switch literally after this video is done because it's first thing in the morning of the day launching here. I'm going to go buy it on the Switch as soon as this video is done. But if you want to play it on consoles or anything else, then there's nothing wrong with that. God, play it where you want to play it. But I fully recommend My Time at Portia. I love playing the game. I really enjoyed it. The downsides to it are going to be if it's not your kind of game, it's not your kind of game. The upsides to it, if it's your kind of game, there's tons to do. It's what you want from this kind of game with a lot of content. And that's exactly what anyone who plays farming, crafting, life, adventure sims wants. It'll be interesting to see after 100 hours, does it still grab your attention? And it'll also be interesting to see dev support. Are they going to put stuff in for different events to kind of pull players back? If they do end up can't say completing the game because I don't think you can complete the game, but you know what I mean anyway. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for checking the video out. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And let us know in the comments below. Are you looking forward to My Time at Portia, or were you looking forward to My Time at Portia? And are you going to pick the game up? Now, if you like this video, guys, then why not give it a little like? It really does make us smile when I go, oh, someone likes me talking to them. If you really like what we do at Indie-Credible, and you want to keep up to date with more indie game content, including news, reviews, previews, and of course, our infamous weekly podcast. Yeah, it's infamous, baby. Then make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date when all that stuff goes live. And if you really like what we do, guys, and you want to get some exclusive content on that weekly podcast, then hit the link in the description down below. Head over to patreon.com/Indie-Credible. Throw us $1 a month, and honestly, we will reward you in abundance. You'll get exclusive access to the pre and post show podcast content. You'll get access to our Discord server where we jump on. We have general bants with the community. We play games with the community, and we even give away indie game keys on, I don't say a regular basis, but a weekly basis. We give keys away that we get given that are spare. And also you'll get early access to other podcasts or other content that we put up. But enough of plugging our Patreon, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, hope you have a lovely morning, evening, day. I don't know why I always say it now, wherever you are. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching and goodbye.